Hello, everybody. Kenneth Hollins here with HollinsMusic.com and MyKeyboardConnection.com. Thank you for joining me for this live teaching session. I'm really excited about it, and I want to use this time, hopefully, to help somebody, to answer some questions, to really show you some things, hopefully, that will help you in your playing, in your development as a gospel musician. I'm really excited about everything that's going on right now. During our teaching, I'm going to make reference to a new video that I also have available that's entitled Essential Hymns and How to Reharmonize. This is something that I just put out, and it's hot off the press, and it's a really great video. I believe it's going to be something that really helps people to really take their playing to a new level and to really modernize their sound, add some contemporary flavor to their sound, and really take your playing to a whole new level. And so I want everybody to know that that's available right now at HollinsMusic.com. HollinsMusic.com. You just simply go to the store tab, and then you find uh, the video Essential Hymns and How to Reharmonize. You can purchase that, and you can download it right away, and you can go ahead and get started uh, learning the content and the arrangements that are on there, and it has some really great arrangements. So I will be more than happy to answer any questions that anyone may have concerning this video. But we're going to get into some other things as well, a lot of different things, and I want you to feel free to ask questions if you have a question, just any music question, anything that may be something that you feel would help you or something that you want to try to clear up. I definitely will do my best to answer those questions for you. And so feel free. And I want you all to let me know that, let me know where you're watching from. Let me know where you're watching from. Just comment that so I can know where everybody's watching from. And then feel free to ask a question. Feel free to ask a question if you have one at this time. And I'll be more than happy to try to answer that for you. It really blows me away uh, that we really do serve. Our motto is serving gospel musicians all over the world, and that's literal. We really are serving musicians all over the world, gospel musicians um, in so many different countries. I get emails, I get messages from people all over the world, literally, and it really blows me away. And I'm really grateful and thankful for the opportunity to be able to serve so many different musicians in so many different places around the world. And I'm just really honored and humbled. Really, there's so many awesome musicians out there. I mean, so many wonderful players out there. And I do what I do, and really humbled to be able to share those things. And so I count it a privilege to be able to come in settings like this, in a forum like this, and to be able to share things with you guys that will help you in what it is that you do. Thank you, Brother Carlos. I really appreciate that. Okay, your question. How do you play fluently with chords and melody in the right hand? Now, that's a great question. That's a great question. I'm going to switch my screen to answer that question for you. Now, when I started really getting into playing, this is something that I had a struggle with. And shout out, I want to just make mention of really one of my first real teachers, and her name is Barbara Jackson. A lot of you all may be familiar with her brother, Derek Jackson. I live in Memphis, Tennessee, and they both live in Memphis, Tennessee as well. And coming up, when I first really started learning to play, I started taking music lessons from Barbara at their music studio, Jackson School of Music in Memphis, Tennessee. And she really, really taught me, to be honest, she is the person that taught me how to play. And so I just have to just recognize her. And I also had an opportunity to study with Derek. Derek is like one of the main organists for the Church of God in Christ internationally. If you ever get a chance to hear him, he will amaze you. I remember going to his church, his father's church, where he used to play, and just go in the audience. I think I was maybe about 16 years old, and I would just go and sit in the audience and just listen to him play, and it would literally blow my mind. And so I don't want to go off into a tangent. I think I just did. But Carlos, she addressed this problem that I was having, where I am right-handed, and so just quite naturally, um, most of the things that I did, I started um, I started doing with my right hand, and of course I would play with my left hand too, but my left hand was not as strong as my right hand. And so what she uh, told me to do was to start playing songs with my left hand. Okay, so let me give you an example. Let's take an old song. Say, for example, Jesus is Real. If I were to play Jesus is Real with my right hand, you know, that old song by John P. Key, I probably would do something like this. Okay, if I put both hands together, maybe something like that. Okay, but with my right hand, so I'm playing those type of chords. So what she told me to do is take your left hand and play with your left hand what you normally would play with your right hand. And I said, oh, never thought about that. So I tried to do it. So I tried to play with my left hand, and that's what I'm doing now. And I tried to make it sound like my right hand. So it would be something like this. You know, something like that. Okay. Hello, Mario. Hello, Paulson. I don't want to mispronounce your name, but thank you so much for joining me today. You guys feel free to ask questions. And so, Carlos, this is what she told me to do. But see, the beauty of doing this, it's like an exercise. And what it's supposed to do is to strengthen your left hand. If your left hand is not real strong, then you can do this, and it strengthens your left hand to be just as strong as your right hand. So that way, if you're used to playing chords and things with your left hand, it frees you up now where you can do melodies with the right. Okay, so basically I'm playing the majority of the chords that I'm playing with my left hand, and then what that did was it freed me up to where I could do more things with my right hand. So I believe one of the keys is working on your left hand to get it just as strong as your right. Okay, and then get used to playing chords with your left. and then it frees you up to do the melody. Okay, and then you'll also notice that sometimes you can mix it up, where sometimes you're playing just single note melodies with the right hand, and then sometimes the melody is a combination of single notes and chords with both hands. Let me see if I can give you an example of that. Let's take something like Amazing Grace, like let's see. Okay, so see, I'm playing with mostly with my left hand, the chords. So now I'm playing most of the melody with my right hand as single notes. But every once in a while, I'll start to play more than just the melody note. I actually play chord tones too. So you see how sometimes I play the melody as single notes with my right hand, and then sometimes I combine the melody with actual chords with my right hand too. Okay, I think the most important thing is that people can hear that melody, and that it's coming through clearly. And usually it can be heard well when it's the top note, whether you're playing single notes with the right hand or you're playing chords with the right hand too. Okay, I hope that helps. All right, thank you, Enoch, from Zambia. Wonderful. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys tuning in and watching for these few minutes here. I do want to let everybody know that I just released a brand new instructional video entitled Essential Hymns and How to Reharmonize. And I think this is a really great resource for musicians that really want to add some new flavor or contemporary flavor to your playing. And what I'm doing in this particular video is I'm taking hymns and I am what you would call reharmonizing the hymns. And I'm taking those hymns and really stretching them and really trying to push the envelope in terms of what you can do with it, um, so that you can learn some new approaches to maybe some chord voicings or chord progressions that you may already know. And the hope is that you would learn these things, these techniques. And so I'm not only showing you really great arrangements, but I'm also showing you how I came up with them. And I think that's real important. For example, this is a reharmonization. Let's take like that Christmas song, "Hark the Herald Angels Sing." The melody is this. Okay. Just the melody. Okay. Right. So that's the melody. Carlos, yes, that helps. Thanks. Thank you when you play amazing. Like it seems like you. I did study classical music. Absolutely. I have studied classical music. I have studied jazz music, and of course, I grew up playing gospel music and have been studying gospel music my whole life. But I have studied those different styles of music. I think it's important to expose yourself to a lot of different kinds of music, and then I believe it's also helpful to be familiar with how those different styles are done, and you can learn from those things that you like, things that you don't like, and I've studied like things like Bach. Let me do it again. Okay, that's something I used to play. I actually kind of forgot it, but things like that, and jazz. I've studied jazz a lot. Okay, like things like that. So I've studied a lot of different kinds of music, and I do believe it bleeds over into what I play in terms of gospel music, and I think that kind of leads over into what I want to talk about, and that is, as gospel musicians, how do we learn to play? How do we really learn to play? How do we grow? How do we develop? How do we become um, better musicians? And I think that's something for us to really consider and think about, so that we can know what we need to do to put ourselves in a position to continue to grow. I think it's important to know how it happens so that we can keep doing it. And I like to look at it like this. And guys, please feel free to ask any questions that you may have. I like to look at it like this. Music to me is it's like a language. Like I'm speaking English. Somebody may speak French, or somebody may speak Spanish. Those are languages, but you have to ask yourself, how did I learn the language that I know? Now, we're just talking about a verbal language, or a speaking language. How did I learn it? When you think about it, how did you learn to speak the language that you know how to speak? As babies, when we were born, we were in the house and somebody was talking around us, speaking English or whatever language you speak. And being surrounded by this particular language, you start to pick it up. You may pick up a word or two: mama, dada, no, mine. You start to pick up words, and how do you pick them up? Because they're around you all the time. You're hearing it all the time, and as you hear it, you start to mimic it. You start to repeat what it is that you're hearing, and then pretty soon, words that you are hearing, you start making connections. You start making connections that, oh, that's a dog, and oh, that's a cat, and that's the car, and you start to make connections with the things that you are hearing on a regular basis, and pretty soon you're able to start communicating, and you're able to start creating sentences and paragraphs, and then whole complete thoughts. Mama, I'm hungry. Mama, I gotta go potty, or whatever. You're able to start to say and communicate this language that you were immersed and exposed to. Immersed in and exposed to. And this is how we learn. And then after that, we go to school and we learn what nouns are, we learn what verbs are, we learn what paragraphs are, and we learn how adverbs and adjectives, and we learn all of those things later. But it first comes through being immersed into it. Okay? And I believe music works the same way. All right. Thank you. Thank you from South Africa. Thank you for watching so much. Thank you. And I think we learn the same way, is where when we are immersed into music or a certain style or a certain kind, we tend to absorb it. We tend to internalize it. And as we absorb it or internalize it, it's something about the way that we process things that we want to, in a sense, reproduce what we've been hearing or internalizing. So when we sit down at the piano, we tend to want to reproduce what we've been listening to. So maybe I was listening to somebody, and so now I've developed the concept of this is what you ought to sound like when you play, you know? And so because of what I've been exposed to, I have this concept of what music should be like or sound like. And when I sit down at the piano, you know, and so my concept is based upon what I've been listening to and in my mind what I think sounds good, and I try to emulate that. Okay, so now I said all of that to say I believe that's how we learn in terms of music. And if that is true, and I do believe it is, then it's important that uh, we immerse ourselves in the type of music that we want to sound like. So, in other words, you got to listen to people that you like the way that they sound. You like the approach that they have. Listen to them. If you get an opportunity, learn from them. Learn the techniques and the skills and the concepts that they have as it relates to playing, so that you can adopt those same things so that you can achieve that same sound that they get. And what you will notice is little by little, you will start to internalize those things. Little by little, you'll start to pick up those things, and then you'll be able to eventually start to reproduce those things that you have been internalizing. Just like a baby, pick up a word here, pick up a word there, pick up a word there, and then pretty soon, if they keep doing that, they'll be communicating in whole sentences, saying things that are completely unique, you know, to their thoughts. And it's the same way as I believe it's just like that when it comes to music. Okay. Any questions? Anybody want to chime in on that? I know that's kind of deep, but I believe that's how it works. So in a nutshell, I think it's important that we learn from other people. I believe it's very important that we learn from other people. We just had some new people come in. I do want to make sure that everybody knows about it, and this may be an additional way for you to learn. Is I just recently produced and released a brand new teaching video, and I really believe it's going to help a lot of people. And it is called Essential Hymns and How to Reharmonize, and that's available right now on my website, hollandsmusic.com. You simply can go to the store tab, open up your account, and then you can purchase it and download it. It's a digital download. It's about 2 hours of instruction. I'm including a bonus video, which is also about an hour long. So you're getting about a total of 3 hours of instruction. You're going to get MIDI files, PDF. You're going to get all of the videos, and it's a really great video course, and I think it's going to really help a lot of people. And I didn't finish what I was getting ready to do. Thanks, Bev. I really appreciate you watching. I was getting ready to demonstrate reharmonization, and I used the song maybe playing that normally, and let me switch screens here. Playing that normally, it would sound like this. You know, something like that, if I was playing it the traditional way. But if I wanted to reharmonize this, I could do something like this. Okay. All right. So that was a reharmonized version of the song "Hark the Herald Angels Sing," and notice that pretty much all of the chords were different, and the only thing that was the same basically was basically the melody of the song. And so that's kind of like what you do with reharmonization. Now I really pushed that one, but in the video that I just put out, essential hymns and how to reharmonize, I teach you and I show you how I approach that. You know, my thinking in terms of reharmonization, and then I give you some hymns that I believe are really, really important hymns to learn how to play. And let me share with you some of the hymns that I have the actual in the actual video. Okay, and I have a question here. Hello, Maestro. I have a question. How do you do with a note to harmonize chords on the progression? Okay, I want to make sure I understand that. How do you do with a note to harmonize chords? Could you rephrase that question? I want to make sure that I'm understanding properly. I want to answer that for you. But I want to let you guys know about some of the actual songs that are in this particular course. And so I'm actually giving you some video, um, instructional videos in terms of reharmonize um, hymns. So I took the hymns, I reharmonized them, I flipped them, and I want you guys to learn them. Okay? And what's going to happen is it's just like learning new words. And you're going to take these new chords or these new progressions, these new ways of playing things, and you'll start to internalize them. And then what's going to happen is those chords, those progressions are going to come back out, and you're going to notice that it's going to become a part of your playing. You know, it's just like exposing yourself to new things, and you appreciate those new things, and then you take them, and then they become a part of you, and you start to reproduce it. That's the concept, okay? And so I hope that's what's going to happen with a lot of musicians that get this particular video. And so I did a really, really nice uh, reharmonization of the song, "Oh How I Love Jesus," um, "How Great Thou Art," "Spirit of the Living God," "Save, Save," and there's also a reharmonization of "Great Is Thy Faithfulness." Okay, so it's a lot. It's a lot in there. It's a lot, and I really tried to give you some really, really, really nice chords and movements so that you can learn those. And then I also have given you MIDI files of of these particular songs that I just mentioned, and then also more songs too. You know, I think hymns are very important to know how to play, and then it's a good foundation to have, and you can learn and develop uh, from those more things as well. So I give you the MIDI files for "Holy, Holy, Holy." Uh, Hello, Brian from Jamaica, man. Thank you for joining me. Okay. All right. Now that's "Holy, Holy, Holy," and then "Oh How I Love Jesus." You get a MIDI file for that. And I don't want to assume that everybody understands what MIDI files are. MIDI files are little small files, very small in size. And what it is basically the information, the digital information of what you played on the instrument. So it gives you the notes, it gives you the velocity of the notes, how hard you hit them. It even records when you hit the sustain pedal. So it's the digital information of what you played. It's kind of similar to those player pianos back in the day where they would have rolls and put them on the player pianos, and then the player piano would recognize the roll, and then the keys would just be going by itself. That's kind of like how we use MIDI files, where we would take the MIDI file and you open it up in a MIDI file software, which actually is provided in this course as well. It's actually called Bambasco Karaoke Player, which is a free software for PC. If you're a Mac user, I recommend getting GarageBand, which is a free download. You know, if you don't want to have to pay for software, it's a lot of software out there that plays MIDI files. But if you don't want to have to spend any money on that, you can get some free software. GarageBand works well, and Bambasco Karaoke Player works well as well. But I include that in this so that you can have it right in your set. And so you can open up the MIDI file, and what you will see is something similar to this. You'll actually see the notes lighting up on your computer. Okay, so it's like a digital representation of what's being played. You can't see my hands like you can see right here, but you would only see those notes lighting up. But the wonderful thing about the software is you can slow it down, you can speed it up, and you can even change the key. You know, so if I played a song in the key of E flat and you need to learn it in the key of F, with the MIDI file, you can put it in the software and then change the setting in the software, and it'll put it in F, and you can learn it like it's in F. Okay, so MIDI files are very, very powerful, and I've given you over 10 MIDI files of hymns of me playing it the way that I would play it. So that way you can learn my chord structure, you can learn the way I approach those particular songs. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. I like your teaching. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You guys know that I have been doing this teaching online probably, I don't know, it's probably been almost 20 years now. It doesn't even seem like it's been that long. Jeffrey, my man, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate that. It's probably been over 20 years. So literally, I've had probably encounters with thousands of musicians, and having the privilege to work with people, and people, they tell me, I like your teaching, I like your approach, I like how laid back you are with it. You make it easy to understand. And you know what? I'm just sharing things, that I've learned over the years, and I'm just being myself, and just talking about the things that, I try to do. And I'm just grateful that you guys appreciate it, and that you all are benefiting from it. That's the true reward, that to know that people appreciate what you're doing and that they are benefiting from it. And so I'm really grateful for that. All right, Dennis from Virginia. Okay, well, Dennis, well, I think you're on the right track. You want to be able to sit down and play a song where you just continue to learn um, what you can learn from books, and learn what you can learn from videos. And what you do is you keep building your vocabulary. It's just like learning a language. You just keep learning words in the language. You learn mama, you learn dada, you learn whatever you learn, and then you keep learning words until eventually you can put sentences together. Let me give you an example. Um, let's take a simple song like "Thank You, Lord." Okay. Now, if I were to play "Thank You, Lord," I probably would approach it like. Okay. All right. And I need to switch the screen so you guys can see what I'm doing. Let me do that again. Okay. So then, to say, for example, that's how I would approach the song. Thank you, Lord. Now, um, when you first start playing, you're not playing like that because you're still trying to learn, you know. But what you do is you learn bits and pieces of things, and pretty soon it becomes this big thing. And what I mean is, say for example, when you start off, all you know how to play is maybe just a A flat major triad or something like that, and maybe somebody teaches you something like this. And so you know those chords. And so when you play it, you play. You know. And so that's a start. And so you keep learning. And then and maybe as you keep learning new songs, you're looking at books, you're looking at videos, you're learning from people, you'll learn. You can take a major chord and add a two to it. And you throw that in there. Okay? You may learn a nice way to fill up your chord is to add a fifth with your left hand. So instead of the root, you have this, the root and the five, okay? And then you put that together. Okay? So now that's some progression. We just moved up a step. At first, this is where we were, but we learned a little bit more, just like the language. You learn a word here, you learn another word there, and then you start to communicate. So we put a little bit more with it, okay? Say for example, we go to the next chord, and at first, we are playing this, and then we learn that that's really a dominant seven chord with a flat nine, or it's a diminished chord over C. And then you start learning different things about diminished chords, and you start learning different things about dominant seven chord. For example, I may want to approach my diminished chord instead of like this, more of an open voicing like that. Okay? It's the same four notes. C sharp, E, G, B flat. Okay? And I spread it out, E, B flat, C sharp, G. And I throw the C in there. Same chord, okay? Okay, to me it's a little fuller, a little richer. So now I've moved from here to this. Now I'm here. Okay? And then normally I would do this, but say for example, I get a video and somebody starts teaching me about minor chords. Thank you, Karen. Thank you so much. They start teaching me about minor chords and how you can add notes to a minor chord. So we can start with minor and then make it minor 7, then make it minor 9, then make it minor 11. Okay? And then we can take 11 chords and create clusters. Things like that. To give you a real contemporary sounding chord. And so we've moved from here, and now we're doing this. Okay? And do you see the progression? How you're taking what you know, no matter what level you're on, and then you add to it and you build upon it. See, that's the thing. It's like line upon line, precept upon precept. So that's why you never beat yourself up over where you are currently. You never do that. You just always have a mindset of, I'm going to continue to learn. I'm going to continue to grow. I'm going to continue to expose myself to new things. And as I continue to do that, I'm going to be learning new things. I'm going to be learning new vocabulary that I am going to start internalizing. And when I start to sit down, I'm going to start reproducing that. And then that that type of that type of playing is going to be the norm for you. Okay, so what may seem foreign, say for example, you may be used to playing a C major chord, and you'll get to the place where you play C major like that. And you may say, whoa, what's that? It's a C major chord, just has a 6/9. I'm using a particular voicing. I'm using a 1 5 10 6 9 5 1. Okay, and sometimes for me now, that's the norm. If I'm reading music and I see like a chord symbol and it says play C major, very seldom am I going to do that. I'm going to do something like that, or something like that, and that's the norm. But I had to grow to that point, and it's the same thing with everything. You grow, and I want everybody to know you never stop learning. The only way you stop learning is if you stop pressing, if you stop pushing. You'll stop learning then. But no matter, and you may feel like you're doing real good, it's always more. It's always more. Music, one of my old teachers, Derek Jackson, I need to give a shout out to him. He's like a genius. Not like he is an absolute genius. Um, but I studied with him a brief period, a few months, and he was so far ahead and advanced in terms of where I think I was maybe about 13 years old when I was studying with him, and I could I could kind of understand the concepts and things that he was sharing with me. But I'll never forget this comment that he made, and this is something that has stuck with me. He said, "Music is like technology," and I thought about that. Technology, like what's technology? It's like it's applied understanding in terms of gadgets and equipment, electronics, and it's always growing. It's always evolving. It's always changing. Hopefully, it's always getting better. And he said that. He said that music is like technology. And think about it. The way music sounded in church in the 60s is different than what it sounded like in the 70s. And what it sounded like in the 70s, you know, uh, you know, I still love that kind of playing actually myself. But it's different in the 70s than in the 80s, the sound of it. Uh, the sound of gospel music in the 90s is a little different than the 80s. And now that we're in the 2000s, it's a little different than it was in the 90s. Why? Because it's shifting, it's evolving. And as it relates to us growing and developing as musicians, you got to think of it like that for yourself, that I can continue to grow and to shift and to evolve as a musician myself. And it never ends. But the thing is, you got to keep pushing yourself. You got to keep pushing yourself. You got to keep investing in yourself. I've spent thousands of dollars on materials and working with people and lessons and education. Why? Because, I had a strong desire to be better. So I paid a big price, not just in money, but in time and practice. It's been times where I literally did not go to sleep at all. I would stay up all night long practicing and would wake up and had to go somewhere the next day and, you know, had to go somewhere and I didn't even sleep that day because I was practicing. I was determined to accomplish something. And that's how intense I was, about improving and getting better. Um, Hello, Keenan. Let me answer your question. Will this be posted after the live is over? Yes, yes. I'm gonna leave this up so that people can see it after the live is over with. So absolutely. Um, and you guys feel free to ask any questions that you may have. And then too, I know it may be a few new people on here, so I want to let everybody know about my latest instructional video that I just released entitled Essential Hymns and How to Reharmonize. I'm giving you some really, really great hymns, teaching you how to play them the standard way, and then I'm taking some hymns and I'm reharmonizing it, and I'm showing you how to do that too. And this is kind of like what I'm talking about. This is a way to expose yourself to new things, learning new ways to do things, new concepts, new techniques that hopefully you can take and start to reproduce in your own playing. Somebody would say, well, I don't need to learn hymns. Well, it's not just necessarily only about the hymns. It's really about what you're going to learn from learning these hymns or learning the arrangements that I give you. So it's not just the hymns per se. You may say, well, I don't need to learn how to play hymns. But the things that I'm giving you in the arrangements, you can use for anything. The chord structures, the chord voicings, the progressions, the techniques in terms of how to reharmonize. So the whole point is you will learn the things that I'm doing and can reproduce them in other ways, and play them in you can take a song that and flip it or reharmonize it and do it in a completely different way. Or even if you don't want to, oh, how I love Jesus. Absolutely, it is. Carlos, oh, how I love Jesus is in this particular video. So if you want to learn it, the reharmonized version and the traditional way, it's in It's in Essential Hymns and How to Reharmonize, and it's on our website right now, hollandsmusic.com. Keyboard Man 2019. No, you really don't need PayPal. Now, the way that our website is set up, it's set up through PayPal, but you don't have to have a PayPal account. You really can use your debit card, and you can pay for it without even setting up a PayPal account. So as long as you have a debit card or a way to pay for it like that, you can get the video. You can get the video, okay? And so you can just go to our website if you're interested. I would encourage everybody to go ahead and get it because normally what I do when I put out something new, I do an introductory price, is where I lower the price to give everybody an opportunity to get it for an inexpensive price. And then we just try to keep our prices low anyway. You know, you know, it's more so about giving everybody an opportunity to get it. If you want to get it, it gives everybody an opportunity to get it. And then we charge for certain things just to keep the channel going, keep the website going, that we can keep functioning and doing different things. But it's really a small amount. Um, it's really a small investment when you really think about it. It's really right now is less than $20, and that's a small investment in yourself, in your music, in your future as a musician. This really could be something that could really open up your mind to a whole new way of playing and a new way of doing things that could put you on a path that you take off and you gone. That's what Barbara did for me years ago. Yeah, Keyboard Man 2019. I encourage you, pick it up. I think you're gonna really like it. It's something I'd really try to give you all some really great chords on it, good movements. I really believe you're gonna like it. And we can send you a link for it if you like. You can just email us at hollandsmusic.com. Excuse me. Hollandsmusic at gmail.com. That's our email address, hollandsmusic at gmail.com. And if you want us to send you a link, we can definitely do that. Okay, and all it is 1997. Very small investment. Okay, but it's worth so much more than that. It really is. Okay, and after this weekend, the price is going to increase. Okay, but we try to give everyone an opportunity to get it for a low price, and that's a very low price for what you're going to get. Altogether, it's over 3 hours of instruction. Okay, once you go to the site hollinsmusic.com, you click on the store tab, and then you find where it says essential hymns and how to reharmonize, and then you can open up your account, purchase it, and then you can download it immediately, and you can start working on it. Okay, that's how you do it. All right, somebody give me a good question so I can do my best to try to answer it. But these are really great questions that you guys have been asking me. I definitely want to make sure that I am giving you guys things that will really help you as gospel musicians. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Serving, taking what we have and using it to help somebody. I definitely remember being in a place and in a position where I felt like I had potential, but I really didn't know how to tap into it, or really didn't have people around me that could help me and kind of steer me in the right direction. That's why I owe so much. Uh, that's why I owe so much to Barbara Jackson, and she may never hear this. Maybe somebody may know her and tell her somebody was talking about her online, but I owe so much to Barbara Jackson. Um, I went to school for music. I have a bachelor's degree in music performance from the University of Memphis, and I've had several teachers. I had um, a classical piano teacher, Lisa Fairchild, and Patrice. I can't even remember her name, but I studied with her in college. I studied with a gentleman who passed away, awesome musician. His name is Gene Rush. He was the head of the jazz department at the University of Memphis, and he was a great guy. He was a jazz musician, but he loved gospel music. He would talk to me about like Thomas Whitfield, and he was the one. He he taught me how to play ragtime, and a lot of different things like that. And so I owe so much to musicians that have poured into me over the years. We can't act like we just came up with everything by ourselves. And even if you're self-taught, you learn from records, you learn from listening to recordings. So we really have to pay homage to the people that have helped us, and even if they don't know it, they've inspired us and helped to motivate us to kind of go in a particular direction in our playing. Okay, Fred Robinson, I'm waiting for you to come out with the Oregon. Oh, the Oregon, the Oregon tutorial. Gotcha. Okay, so that's definitely coming up. It says Oregon. I'm like, Oregon tutorial. It's the Oregon style, like the New York style. But the Oregon tutorial, I got you. That's definitely coming up. That's definitely coming up. Okay. Keyboard Man 2019. Do you know New Direction? Is that a song? I don't believe I do. I don't believe I do. I don't believe I do. But as I was saying, we really have to um, value what we've learned from people, and then understand that that's how we grow. No man is an island. Nobody is just they just come up with things, and they're not influenced by anybody. We're all influenced by something or someone. And so when you understand that, you will embrace that and understand that that's the process that a lot of people learn by, is by learning from other people. Okay? And so that's why I encourage you to pick up this new video right now, Essential Hymns and How to Reharmonize It. Get it for the low introductory price. And then you get an opportunity to learn um, many of the things that I try to do when it comes to reharmonizing songs, and just a lot of the things that I try to do as it relates to playing. I actually try to, um, approach my playing a certain way, and I'm sharing those things with you in this particular video. Okay, I'm going to give you a little sample of one of the reharmonized songs that's in this course. Just give you a little sample of it. And one of the songs is called "Saved, Saved." Okay, question. Well, that's a good question. This is a very good question. What advice do you give a person that used to play and is just now trying to get back into it? Where do we start? Well, you start where you left off. And the thing about playing, it's not necessarily like riding a bicycle. People say once you learn to ride a bicycle, you never forget. I don't necessarily think that's the case when it comes to playing, because you really can digress in your playing if you don't continue to do it. Because see, you're dealing with like muscle memory, you're dealing with muscles in your hands and your fingers, and if you're not playing on a regular basis, your fingers could lose some dexterity and strength to play, and so you may see a decline, and then you may actually forget some of the things that you've learned. So a lot of times you have to kind of go back to where you were, and as much as you can pick up from where you left off. But no matter where you are, or if you haven't been playing a long time, what you do is you expose yourself to music. You expose yourself to the type of playing that you want to sound like. And then you get that, and you start learning it. And you just take your time and you internalize it. And like I mentioned before, it starts to become a part of you, and then you start to reproduce it. And so you just jump back in and you just start learning. You learn a little bit here, a little bit there, and you just keep doing it. Okay, that's what I would recommend. Now it's a hymn. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's called "Saved, Saved." Okay, so that's kind of how it is, okay, in terms of like the traditional way of doing it. But I reharmonized it, and so this is one of the hymns that's reharmonized in Essential Hymns and How to Reharmonize the video. And so I'm just going to give you a little bit of it, how I approached that, um, and I did it like this. Okay, I'll stop right there. And so I want you to notice how I took the melody of the song, which is, okay. Now normally you would be doing something. All right, but that's not my approach, okay? In the reharmonization, I'll do it again. Can you hear the melody is still there? You can still tell what I'm playing, but I have completely reharmonized it. And this is the approach that I'm taking with all of the hymns that are in this particular video. And so what it does is it shows you an alternative way of approaching traditional things or standard things. It shows you, oh, okay, I would have never thought to do that with that chord like that. And it's like you're learning new words. You're learning new things that's going to allow you to communicate in a much more effective way. That's what it's about. It's about communication. You know, the most articulate or the most effective communicator is going to be somebody that has a lot of words to communicate with. You know, just think about it. If I only know 20 words, you know, if I'm a communicator, at least I'm trying to be a communicator, but I only know 20 words in my whole vocabulary. I may could get my thoughts out, but I'm going to be real limited in what I can say and how I say it. But if I know 1,000 words, I'm going to be much more effective in communicating my thoughts and my ideas in a way that people can understand it. And it's the same way with music. You know, you may know 50 chords. And so when you sit down and play, you can express yourself musically, and people know the song that you're playing, and, you know, it sounds good and everything. But what if you added another 50 chords to the 50 you already know? Another 50 progressions with the ones that you already know. And when you sit down to play, you have so much more to work with. And now you can express yourself in a way that's more effective than what you did at first. And that's why I encourage people to keep learning new things. It's almost like being transformed by the renewing of your mind. Same thing. You're being transformed by learning new things and concepts. So that's why it's always good to invest in good teaching material. Okay? Are there any other questions? Thank you so much, Jericho. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for your question. Okay. I'm not on here trying to preach. But it's just the concept of that's how you grow, is that you have to expose yourself to new things. You have to expose yourself to things that may be different than what you're normally used to. Because see, this is the fact of the matter. Whatever your playing level is right now, it is a result of what you have been exposed to and what you have learned. It's what you have been around, what you've been listening to, and then what you have actually physically learned. I'm telling you, that's whatever level you on, no matter how high or low you think, that the level is irrelevant. But wherever that is, it's a result of what you've been listening to, what you've been hearing, and what you have learned. So just think, what if you really surround yourself with the type of music or the type of playing that you really want to sound like? And some people don't like to do that because it's frustrating. Like, man, I wish I played like that. Man, I wish I could sound like that. And some people just turn it off. I don't even want to hear it. I don't even want to hear it. It's frustrating. But you really need to listen to those guys play. I'm telling some monster musicians out there. And you need to listen to them and really internalize that music. I'm telling you. And it's just the way that we are as human beings. We tend to try to recreate what we have internalized. And when you sit down at that piano, it's going to be something in you that's going to want to recreate what you've been listening to. And if you are tenacious enough and you don't give up, you're going to eventually figure out how to reproduce that sound. I'm telling you, you're going to do it. Thank you, MIDI Man 45. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I truly and sincerely appreciate those kind words. Thank you. But that's how that's how you grow. You keep learning new things. You keep learning new things. It may be some new people that came on after we started, but I want to make sure everybody knows about my latest instructional video, Essential Hymns and How to Reharmonize. And it's available right now on my website. All you have to do is go to hollandsmusic.com, and then you click on the store tab, and then you can download the video. And right now is a great time to get it because you can get it for the low introductory price of only $19.97. Okay, after this weekend, the price is going to increase. Okay, so I encourage everybody to pick it up now if you're interested. And if you like my teaching or you like the videos that we put out, if you benefit from them, you're going to really like this video, I really believe. And I'm thinking about doing like a challenge and having a prize for the person that can win the challenge, that could possibly take some of these arrangements and learn them and play them back. And the person that can do it, or the people that can do it the best, have like a prize or some form of cash reward or something like that. I'm thinking about doing that. I want to put a challenge out there, and really the point is to really motivate everybody to really practice and push yourself and work hard so that we can all be better musicians. That's what we want. We want to be better musicians for what we do as gospel musicians, and then just people that love gospel music. We want to really push ourselves so that we can move forward. Okay. Any other questions? Anybody? Any other questions? Anybody? Okay. I think I missed the question. Let me go back. I don't want to miss anybody. Okay. Okay, Jericho. I seen. Uh-oh. Let me go back. I seem to struggle with the ear. It's harder to pick out the parts. Well, the ear is like a muscle. In order for the your muscles to grow, you got to work them out. And Jericho, I recommend I recommend a video that I did years ago, and it's called "Learn How to Play by Ear." Learn to play gospel music by ear for beginners. I believe it's something like that. I believe if you type that in and you do a search on YouTube, you're going to find it. It's on our page, HMPI, How to Play Gospel Music by Ear for Beginners. And it's about an hour long. And I'm talking about a lot of different things that I have experienced in developing my ears to to grow and things. And let me say this just so you can understand, no matter where you are right now, you always can improve. When I first started playing by ear, maybe about, I don't know, maybe about 12 years old, maybe somewhere up in there, 12, 13, somewhere up in there. I never forget, I wanted to learn to play a song by Mississippi, the Mississippi Mass Choir. And I can't even remember the name of it now, but it was in A flat. I now know it was in A flat. And back then, I didn't know this, but back then, we were using cassette tapes. And I had the Mississippi Mass Choir on a cassette tape, and I would put it in my radio. And cassette tapes at that time, sometimes they wouldn't be perfectly on pitch. They may be a little sharp or sometimes even a little flat. But I didn't know that. And so I decided that I was going to try to learn how to play this song. And so I put the cassette tape in and I played it. It was something like, mm, mm. It was something like that. Something like, I can't even remember what it was, but it's a real cool song. Old Mississippi Mass Choir song. And I was trying to figure out the key of the song, and I couldn't figure it out because it sounded like A flat, but then it sounded like A too. I didn't even realize it, but the song was right in the middle of A flat and A, and I couldn't tell what key it was in. It was driving me nuts. And literally, it took me about 2 weeks to figure out the key of the song. I kind of figured out it was in A flat. I think it was leaning a little bit more towards A flat than A. And I was just using my ear to try to figure it out. And so I couldn't even figure the key out. And it took me 2 weeks to figure that out. Okay? And so I'm just saying that to say when I started learning by ear, I mean, I was struggling. I was struggling bad. But I kept doing it. I would listen to songs with 3-part choir harmony, and I would pick out the soprano part, the alto part, and the tenor part, because I learned when you're developing your ears, you can hear singing the notes that people are singing easier than you can with notes on an instrument. And so I picked out the vocal parts, and so I took the vocal parts and put it with what I heard the bass player doing. And then so I started playing like that. That's how I developed. And I kept learning songs. I didn't know it, but as I continued to learn songs, my ears were getting better. My ears were getting stronger. They were getting more sensitive. And I was starting to pick up little lines that I heard the guitar player doing. Like little things that I would hear the strings doing. Like little things. And so I started growing and I started developing. And this is over years of doing this, learning songs. I mean, struggling learning songs. With cassette tapes, play the tape, hit play, and try to figure it out. Listen to it, oh, that's not it. Hit rewind, hit play again. No, that's not it. Hit rewind, hit play again. No, I'm talking about hours of doing this, but I didn't know it. But I was in the gym of ear training. I didn't know it, but I was developing my ears, and my ears were getting better. And it was some frustrating times, and sometimes like, man, I can't hear what this stuff. I can't figure this stuff out. But I stuck with it though. That's the key. You got to stick with it and don't give up. And even if you're struggling and you can't figure the stuff out, you do the best you can. And what you do is you also get assistance. Now that's key. You try to learn things by yourself, by ear, that strengthens the ear. But then you also get assistance. I was getting music charts from Barbara and music charts from Derek. They were writing out songs from me, the way they would play it. And I would never forget when I learned to do this. Oh man, when I learned how to do that, I thought I was bad. I remember I set my keyboard up in the den of my house, and I wanted everybody to hear me play. Because I had never played a chord that had a half step in it like that. I played a chord like that, but not like that. And then just to bring that D down, and it seems completely like a different chord, and then you do it again. That was amazing to me. I don't know if I would have ever thought about that by myself, but I learned it from somebody else. Now, I don't even think anything about that. Now, It's more like that now. But I started with that, and I learned it from people. I learned that from Barbara or Derek or whoever I was studying with at the time, and now it's just a part of how I play. And just to get back to what I was talking about the ear, the whole thing is the whole thing is that I stuck with it and I didn't give up and I kept pressing and I kept, trying to do it. And my ears got better. Now I'm at the point now where I can just listen to a song. I'm at the point now where I can just listen to a song one time, and if I focus on it, pretty much I can play it. I don't even have to be at the keyboard. I can just play it. Okay? But it took a long time, excuse me, for me to get to that point. Okay? All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. But I want everybody to know again, I do have a brand new instructional video that's available, Essential Hymns and How to Reharmonize. I encourage everybody to pick it up. I think you're going to really like it. I think it's going to help you. I think it'll really open up some things for you. It's available right now on my website, hollandsmusic.com, hollandsmusic.com. And it's only $19.95 over 3 hours, $19.97, excuse me, over 3 hours of instruction. And I really believe that it's going to really open up some new things to you that you can incorporate into your playing. Okay? Guys, thank you so much for taking these few minutes and hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. Those of you all that are subscribers, thank you. If you hadn't subscribed, please take some time and subscribe. I'm going to be putting up more things to try to help you to grow and develop and to just achieve our goals as gospel musicians. So again, thank you so much. Go and pick up that video. I think you're going to really love it. Essential Hymns and How to Reharmonize on my website, hollandsmusic.com. And I want you to always remember, HMPI, we're serving gospel musicians all over the world. Okay, thanks a lot, guys.